Hello. So last time we spoke about emotion regulation. Today we're going to talk about a related topic, which is emotion differentiation. Both of these which will help with improving your mental well-being. Emotion differentiation is basically the ability to identify your emotions. Sounds super simple, but it can be a lot more complicated than you think. And the more you can do that for yourself, identify your emotions, and help your children identify their emotions, the more you can do things to help build your mental well-being. So let's jump into 5 ways that you can improve emotion differentiation for the children in your life as well as for yourself. We'll jump in right now. The first is teaching those children that you care for, work with, live with, teaching them how to identify their emotions, helping them to name it. And so, for example, a child's going to feel sad. It's one emotion. Maybe they're crying, and you're going to be able to say, "Hey, it looks like you feel sad. Let's talk about that. What can we do to help you?" You give them some comfort. You respond to that emotion. Makes a huge difference in helping them understand what that emotion means. So taking the time to name it, be present to that little person's emotion can make all the difference. And do the same for yourself. It sounds really easy, but sometimes it is a little more complicated than it appears. The second is, and this is a bigger one, this one's a little tougher, is to stop telling people how to feel. And that can be pretty rough because in life, we actually want to feel something like this, or something kind of really stable like this. But in fact, we often feel something kind of bummed out like this, or we feel kind of hopeless like this, and other times we feel kind of mad like this. So when you feel those really big emotions that are kind of a drag, it's easy to try to avoid them, get rid of them, and ignore them. But in fact, that actually makes it worse. It's better for those children in our life, those youth or adolescents, and ourselves, if we can actually stop, help them feel those bad emotions, those challenging emotions, those ones that aren't so pretty, and make some choices and look at ways to deal and respond with those emotions. So when you see a child upset, instead of saying, "Hey, you're not mad, you're not upset," you're going to say, "Hey, you look upset. What can you do about that? What can we do to help you with that?" And by naming that emotion and actually letting it be what it is, it makes all the difference. And I have a little metaphor for you to use to think about this. This was supposed to be a squash. It looks like a squash. It's got the right shape. It's a little small, kind of anemic. It never made it to a squash. It's actually just a gourd. So I could run around calling this a squash, but in actual fact, it is a gourd. It never achieved squash. So by being honest and saying, this is a gourd, it's not a squash, I'm going to be able to be true with what's really happening. I won't try to eat this. I'm sure it doesn't taste very good. It'll be honest with what's going on. Same with emotions. If you try to mask an emotion, making it into something it isn't, you're basically going to try to eat a gourd when you wished it was a squash. And it just doesn't taste very good, and it makes life worse than it could have been otherwise. So being present to that reality, it is sadness. Let's deal with it. Will actually, in the long run, help you out immensely. So look for opportunities to really stretch and be comfortable with those less comfortable emotions in your life and in your children's lives and the lives of the adolescents that you may work with, to the children you may work with. So the third thing to think about when looking at emotion differentiation is that adolescents specifically are feeling complex feelings. So children are feeling and learning about one feeling: I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm nervous. Adolescents get to learn about the whole shebang. So they need to learn each feeling. They also need to learn extra, maybe another feeling's happening at the same time. And then there's this third feeling, this dark feeling down here that they're not sure what to do with. So when you're working with adolescents or you're raising an adolescent, you want to realize no longer are they just feeling sad or happy or anxious. They might be feeling sad, excited, anxious, and nervous, and upset all at the same time. So you're going to want to look at the full range of emotions and help your adolescent understand the competing emotions they might feel, the opposite emotions that might be conflicting inside of them. By being present to that and helping them be present, you're going to help them better process all of that jumble of feelings going on inside their bodies. That's a new experience for them. They used to just need to experience one emotion, but now they have to feel that full range. And that's why researchers have actually found that differentiation, the ability to identify an emotion, actually goes down in adolescence. They get worse at identifying how they're feeling. And it makes sense because they're feeling so many complicated things all at the same time. So give those adolescents a little extra support. This is a lot for them to be learning to adjust to. We adults are still struggling with that complicated range of feelings that we feel inside. And those 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds are just figuring that out. So it's a tough one. So definitely help them and talk about the fact that, wow, you might be feeling some conflicting feelings here. That conversation could be really eye-opening for them and really help them better understand that. And really the bottom line is when they can understand their emotions, when they can get some insight into what they're feeling, they can better process them and move forward with them, as you've probably experienced in your own life. So the fourth thing I want to give you is that we're going to look at the negative emotions specifically. Researchers have found that adults who spend time understanding their negative emotions actually have better results on mental wellness than those who try to avoid their negative emotions. So I have this rock, looks kind of like a rock, but you can think about it as a negative emotion, or you can remind yourself one of these dried up leaves. When you see a rock, or if you'd prefer the metaphor, a dried up leaf like I was talking about earlier, I want you to think about those negative emotions and how you're going to pay attention to them enough so that you can work through them for yourself and create more calmness within your relationships, or how you're going to help those children in your life work through their negative emotions. So instead of brushing them away, think about ways that you can actually help that child work through those emotions. And let the rock and the dried up sad leaf remind you, hey, these are true, we got to pay attention to them. The fifth way that you can build a good relationship, a good emotional differentiation for your child is, I gave it right at the beginning here, is through a good relationship. The more you can build warmth and caring and understanding with the children and adolescents in your life, you'll be able to form that good, solid relationship. And that's going to help them better trust you to talk about what they're really feeling, explore what they're feeling, and be feeling safe to actually step into some of those more challenging feelings they're going to have as they're growing up. So take steps to build that warm relationship. And you can do that by respecting them, giving them space to be heard, letting them have some input on decisions, and also being able to build a bond or a warm kind of safe space for them. So look for opportunities to do that with the children in your life to help them have that foundation so that they can go on to stretch and explore and understand and trust as you guide them through understanding their emotional life, because it is a lot to take on and a lot to learn. And once they learn it, it'll really benefit them throughout their entire life. We know that emotion differentiation or understanding our emotions is a lifelong process because we change. The context and situations we're in are constantly changing, and they bring more and more emotions up all the time. So we adults want to continue to build our understanding of our own emotions. It'll allow us to model this for the children in our life, for us to better understand ourselves, which will make us better for those children we live and work with. So take some time, get to know your emotions, help your children learn their emotions, help the children you work with understand their emotions, be able to name them, identify them, and you'll do a lot for their emotional and mental well-being as well as your own. Thanks so much. We'll be back with more. All the best.